Jerry thought that was the end of it. But it wasn't. First of all, the grass, treated with galactic fertilizer, had grown overnight. And it didn't just grow, it grew taller than Jerry. At first, he thought it was the barbecue, but when he tried to mow the lawn, he realized that a regular lawn mower wouldn't work. "Bob, I need help," he shouted to his neighbor. Bob, being an expert on everything and nothing, brought a chainsaw. But the grass turned out to be smart. As the blades approached, it ducked and made a graceful curve. "Is this a joke?" Bob muttered, standing with his mouth open. "This is some kind of alien Jumanji," Jerry said, poking at the grass with his shovel. Luckily, in the bag of fertilizer Jerry found a strange device that looked like a remote control. He pressed the first button he could find, and the grass curled up as if someone had turned it off. "I wish taxes were like that," Jerry sighed, removing the remains of the green giant. But the problems didn't end there. Second, there were guests in the neighborhood. Aliens. Not the ones from the party, but something else entirely. Tall, with eyes like flashlights and a strange habit of wearing scarves despite the heat. They would come one by one, ring the doorbell and say, "We heard you have a grill. We want to taste it." "Tasting what?" Jerry would ask suspiciously. "Everything." They brought with them strange foods, some glowing mushrooms, bubbling liquids, and even objects that looked like pure energy. One of them tried to grill a transparent cube, which suddenly exploded and left a crater in the yard. "Okay, stop," Jerry roared, grabbing his head. "This isn't a restaurant, and I'm not the chef of the galaxy." "Too bad. You have a lot of potential." One of them sighed sadly and vanished into thin air. The most surprising thing was that these visits attracted people's attention. "Jerry, have you started a new business?" Mrs. Carter inquired. "What kind of business?" "I've got an intergalactic madhouse here." Meanwhile, there was an article in the local paper. Jerry Larson is the bridge between planets. Third, he began to notice a strange change in himself. His sense of smell became so acute that he could smell fried chicken 3 blocks away. His skin glowed slightly in the dark, especially after he tasted the very same glowing mushroom served by one of the guests. "Bob, can you see that my fingers are glowing now?" he asked one day. "Is that something new? Or are you just spending too much time with those green guys?" "They're not green anymore." The last one was purple and sang opera. Jerry realized it was time for a change. He decided if the aliens wouldn't leave him alone, then he had to leave. At least for a while. He packed his bags, booked a campground in another state, and prepared to leave early in the morning. But as soon as he rolled the car out of the garage, the very same antenna guy was standing in the driveway. "Jerry, where are you going?" "On vacation. I need, a vacation from all this galactic turmoil." The antenna guy was thinking, "All right, just come back. You have no idea how hard it is to find someone who can cook without adding these spices of yours." "What are you talking about?" "Oh, we're allergic to pepper. We start speaking backwards after it." Jerry sighed heavily, slammed the car door and drove away, hoping that at least no one would find him at the campground. The next morning, sitting by the campfire in the woods, Jerry suddenly heard a low buzzing sound. He looked up and saw a small spherical object. "No! No, 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 no! I've left you!" he shouted. "We just want to give you our best sauce," came the voice of the aerialist. "And maybe some more corn?" Jerry realized there was no hiding from the aliens. But frankly, he was used to it. The vacation didn't go well. Jerry spent 2 days at a campground, but it turned out that even there he couldn't hide from his space friends. The aliens found him anywhere. Some materialized from the bushes, some carefully descended on miniature flying saucers, and one even came out of the lake juggling fish. "Jerry, we've got an idea," declared the aerialist as he appeared right outside his tent, holding a strange device that looked like a blender with tubes. "What kind of idea?" Jerry groaned. "We've decided to create the galaxy's first food truck with your style of barbecue on Earth." "With my style?" "Of course. We'll call it Jerry and the Star Grill Masters." "But I don't want to be a grill master." "You don't get it. We're gonna do everything ourselves. You'll just be a symbol. Like your Ronald McDonald." "A symbol? What's in it for me?" The antennae guy's been thinking. "Well, we could pay you a fee." "Like what, in quintillariums?" "How much is that in dollars?" "It's nothing. But it's a nice figure, don't you think?" Jerry sighed. "What if I say no? Then we'll open the food truck without you." "But would that be fair to your reputation?" Jerry realized he'd lost. "Fine. Just make sure none of my neighbors know about it." "Yay!" shouted the aliens, tearing down Jerry's tent in celebration. A week later, a huge food truck was parked outside Jerry's house, shimmering in all the colors of the rainbow. A neon figure of Jerry twirled on its roof, holding a giant burger with antennae. "What kind of circus is this?" Bob asked, stepping outside. "It's an experiment," Jerry mumbled, hiding his face. The antenna man proudly opened the door of the food truck, from which wafted the aroma of fried meat, corn, and something that smelled like electricity. "We're open," he exclaimed. Neighbors began to pull up to the food truck. First up, of course, was Bob. "So what do you have here?" he asked, looking at the menu. The menu looked strange. There were items like star ribs, quantum corn, black hole patties, and supernova burger. "What's that?" Bob poked at the burger, from which a light smoke was rising. "That's our specialty," replied the aerialist. "The smoke is not heat, but a pure molecular flavor reaction." Bob, of course, tried it. "It's the best thing I've ever eaten," he shouted after a minute. "Jerry, you should patent that." The food truck became popular not only in the neighborhood, but beyond. People came from neighboring towns to try the Star Barbecue. One day, a reporter from a local TV station even came by to interview Jerry. "Tell me, how did you come up with such a unique concept?" she asked, pointing the microphone at poor Jerry. "Well, it's all aliens," he answered honestly. "Aliens? How interesting. Is that a metaphor?" "No, it's literally aliens." The journalist laughed nervously. "You have a terrific sense of humor." Meanwhile, the aerialist began planning to expand his business. "We're going to open food trucks all over the world," he declared. "That's just the beginning. Or maybe it will be the end?" Jerry muttered tiredly. One night, as Jerry was trying to rest, that same glowing ball of light appeared in the yard again. "You again?" he grumbled, running outside. "Jerry, we have news," the aerialist pronounced, stepping out of the ship. "Our food truck has attracted interest from other galaxies." "So?" "We've been ordered to Fruexes." "Well, go there yourself." "We'd love to, but they want Jerry to cook the burger himself." Jerry's pale. "You mean you want me to go into space?" "Not for long. Just a couple thousand light years." "A couple thousand light years?" The antennae guy shrugged. "Don't worry, we'll get you insurance." Jerry sat in the pilot's chair. strapped down tightly with strange straps that resembled living tentacles. Everything around him looked like a scene from a cheap science fiction movie. The flashing panels, the strange sounds the ship was making, and the antennae man confidently operating the console. "You said it was going to be a short trip," Jerry reminded him nervously, as the stars began to stretch out into long streaks of light. "Well, it's relatively short." The aerialist brushed it off. "It's nothing to us. To me it's something. I had to mow the lawn today. But now you get a chance to cook a burger for higher life forms. Do you realize what an honor that is?" Jerry just sighed. The ship landed on a giant, rainbow-colored surface. On the horizon were strange towers that looked like crystals, and creatures that looked like a mix of giant hamsters and spiders. "Is that the local fauna?" Jerry asked, barely out of the ship. "Uh-huh. If you don't touch them, they won't touch you either," replied the aerialist, pulling a galactic grill out of the ship. "Wow, thanks for the warning." Soon the representatives of the Fruexis approached them. They were tall and transparent, with shimmering skin that seemed to have little glowing fish swimming inside it. "Jerry Larson?" came their melodious voice in unison. "Well, that's me," he answered cautiously. "We've heard about your burgers. We want to savor the great art of the earth." Jerry felt his hand shaking. "Well, okay," he muttered. "Do you have any meat here?" The Fruxosians brought something that looked like a giant pink bubble, pulsing to the tune of their voices. "What's that?" Jerry gawked. "It's our traditional meat. We grow it from sounds." "Sounds?" "Yeah, it adapts to the taste of whoever's cooking it." "Oh, okay," Jerry said hesitantly, setting the bubbler on the grill. As the meat began to grill, the smell filled the entire area. It seemed to contain all the best things Jerry had ever tasted. The aroma of smoked bacon, the sweetness of caramelized onions, and even a touch of vanilla ice cream. "This is incredible," exclaimed the aerialist. The Fruxosians froze in anticipation, their bodies beginning to glow brighter. Jerry assembled the first burger, adding some of their strange, bubbling green liquid instead of ketchup. "Okay, try one," he said, holding the burger out to the tallest of the Fruxosians. He took the burger carefully and took a bite. His transparent body glowed so brightly that Jerry had to squeeze his eyes shut. It's incredible," the Fruxosians chanted. "Jerry, you are now officially our head chief." No, I just came by to cook a couple burgers." "We should thank you," they said. "We'll give you one of our technologies." "I just want to go home," Jerry muttered, but no one listened. After a ceremony where Jerry was officially proclaimed Master of Star Burgers, he finally returned to Earth. "Is it all over?" he asked as he stepped onto the lawn of his backyard. "Yes," replied the antennae guy. "But know this, you're a legend now." "Thank you, but I want to be a simple legend. The one that sleeps at night." The aerialist nodded and disappeared in a bright flash of light. Jerry went into the house, took off his shoes, and turned on the TV. On the screen was the local news. Today, the first shipment of Fruexis technology was delivered to Earth. It's all thanks to our fellow countryman Jerry Larson. Jerry dropped the remote. "Well, this is it. I could only dream of peace." There was a familiar rumble outside. "Oh no!" Jerry looked out the window. Another ship had landed outside the house, from which the new aliens had emerged. "Hello. We heard you were the chief. Why is this with me?" Jerry moaned. The end? Or the beginning of a new story?